everyone, welcome back to Cottoverdi. This is another one of those weekly vlogs where I filmed a combination of various different things that I've been getting up to in the garden, and I'm just joining them all together so you get an idea of the things that I've been doing during the week, the little jobs, the little projects, the maintenance that's required in a garden this size, and hopefully it's full of inspiration and helpful hints and tips and things that you could be doing in your garden maybe, or maybe you just enjoy this as something relaxing to watch. Anyway, welcome to the second of the weekly vlogs. This is actually a little bit behind because I do all my own video editing, and with all the gardening that I'm doing at the moment, it's taking me a while to get the videos edited. So this actually happened sort of maybe 10 days ago, something like that. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. It's a new day. I've got a couple of little jobs I'm going to try and get done before it gets too hot. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prop up the rose called Festive Jewel, which is a gorgeous rose, but for some reason one or two of the branches are just flopping over, and I need to save the cosmos that they're dangling on top of because I need the cosmos to grow for the wedding celebration in July. So let's go and tackle that. And then I've got a couple of cutting back jobs. So I'm going to be pruning some shrubs, but also cutting some things back to let other plants breathe. Guys, everything started flowering. I'm so excited. Just literally overnight, I've got my first dahlia flower in the entire garden. This is the first one to bloom. Let me show you. So down here, we've got a couple of things. So this is a poppy called bowling ball. And the reason I'm growing this, I mean, it's quite a pretty colour, but the reason I'm growing it is because the seed heads are supposedly absolutely huge, like a bowling ball, I guess. And then this is the dahlia. That has just started flowering, and of course it's one of my all-time favourites. This one is called Edith Jones, and I absolutely love Edith Jones. Look at her, so many buds, and that's the first dahlia flower in the garden. And just creeping around the corner here, this is a Malope Vulcan, which is absolutely gorgeous. What I have just spotted though is that all of my ranunculus are over, so I'm going to pull those out today. Now, the reason I dig up my ranunculus corms is because they don't necessarily survive, and these are butterfly ranunculus, so they are super precious, very expensive corms, so I want to make sure I have them for next year. This is a ranunculus called Hera. I'll pop a picture up on the screen. If I took a video of it when it was in flower, I'll pop that up now. So what I'm going to do is just dry these off for a couple of days and then store them in a net bag in a cool place like our garage, before, until I plant them again in the autumn. So I'm digging them up so that I don't damage the corms. You could just try and pull them out, but our ground, I mean, we just haven't had enough rain. So, yeah, I don't want to damage the corms. I want the corms to come out big and whole. So these are the ranunculus. I'm going to take off all the foliage that would just go in the compost, and then as the soil dries off, I'll just shake that off. I'll show you as I do it during the week. This is Festive Jewel, which is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. It's here squashing. This has completely fallen over and is squashing the cosmos, so I need to sort that out. But I've got some gorgeous Sweet Williams over here that I grew from seed. I can't remember which ones they were. And just popping up at the back there is a black poppy, which I'll show you afterwards. I'll give you a close-up because, in fact, there are two. They're absolutely gorgeous. There we go. So there's quite a lot of deadheading to do on this rose, but let me show you the black poppies. How gorgeous are they? So this, I think, is called Black Swan. It's a fluffy one. In fact, they both might be Black Swan. I've got black singles as well, but I mean, they're just kind of actually astonishingly pretty. I wasn't expecting them to be quite so pretty. So I wasn't planning on doing this today because there's too much else to do, but I can't leave the rose looking like this because I know that if I deadhead it, I'll get more flowers sooner. So I'm going to deadhead it today. I don't know if I'm going to include this in the video or not. I love those poppies. I didn't think I'd like them because they're so purple, but I'm definitely growing them again. I'm looking to see whether there are any more buds, and I can see a bud on here. So I just leave the buds. If the whole stem is gone, I cut back to the first set of 5 leaves. And that is the policy I use, unless I need to tidy the plant up at all. Okay, I'm down here in the grass border, and this is a gorgeous rose. This one is called Tranquility. It's David Austin rose, and it's just a perfect white rose. It's kind of being swamped by some oregano, and this is just ordinary oregano, but what it's doing is it's crowding out the rose, and the rose, it's more important that the rose breathes. I don't want it to get black spots because there isn't enough air circulation. So I'm going to cut this back. Now this oregano, it's very ornamental and it's great for cut flower bouquets and things like that. So I definitely recommend growing it. Just don't plant it quite so close to a rose as I have. So I think I didn't actually plant it that close, but what's happened is it's flopped over a bit. So what I might do is prop up the rest of it so it doesn't flop again. If I can get the stakes in, then this is what I will use. But our ground is so dry. So now the rose has got some breathing room, and I just wanted to also show you that this is a larkspur called Splish Splash, which I think is a floret variety, and it is so cute. It's got little stripes on it. The biggest job, I suppose, that I'm doing today is that I'm going to be pruning the Viburnum opulus. Now I have 2 along this path here, and they're absolutely glorious. They've been in for years and years, and they really are quite tall, but they're also coming over the path, and we really do need this path to stay clear. If I don't prune it back this year, then it will just get even bushier next year and be more in the way, and I won't want to lose those blooms, so I won't cut it back. So I'm cutting it back now. Now really, with shrubs, we should prune them just after they finish flowering, which would have been about a month ago, but I didn't get it done before we went away. There was too much planting to get done. So I'm going to prune it now, and hopefully it's still got plenty of time. It's the middle of June. So yeah, hopefully it's got plenty of time to put on new growth, and then we'll have loads of flowers next year. Hopefully I'm not cutting off all the flowers. So I'm just looking at the plant, and it's got a lot of new growth already, actually, but it's too bad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this back, and I may just raise the canopy so that I can plant other things underneath. So I'm going to try not to take off more than 1/3 of the plant itself. So I've definitely raised the canopy. That's how much I've taken off, but you can see that I haven't taken off more than 1/3. That's at least 2/3 left, and I'm much happier with that, actually. I'd really quite like them to grow into large trees, so I'm going to do exactly the same to this one here. This one isn't quite as tall, but I'm going to treat it the same way. And I also really want to protect my Pride and Prejudice rose, and I think possibly because you get more sun this way, it's definitely growing this way more than I want it to. So I'm going to be quite brutal on this side. Take a lot of it off. If you're scared of pruning, the best thing to do is start small. So take off small branches and then see where you are. And take off more if you want to, because you can't put it back on, as they all say, which is very true, but you can take more off. So I'm just gradually snipping away at this branch to see where I am, and I need to go lower down, I think. So this whole branch now can probably come off. I might need to get my loppers. Oh, no, there we go. like a hot mess already. We're having a heat wave in the UK at the moment, and yeah, I look like I've been climbing around in bushes. Anyway, I have cut back probably just over a third on that one. I haven't cut away half, and a third on the one at the back there, but now we can see the trunks, and I think they're going to be beautiful trees in the future. I'm super excited about them, and there's just a lot more breathing space at the bottom, and I can underplant with something gorgeous and colourful, because these really, they're only in flower probably for about a month, 6 weeks in the spring, and then, I mean, it's beautiful green foliage. It's sort of got like acer kind of leaf-shaped leaves, maybe sycamore, something like that. They're nice, and they're nicely shaped leaves, and they're a gorgeous colour. And then they change colour in the autumn, which is wonderful. But actually, I'd really like some colour in the summer underneath. So that's a double whammy for me. They needed cutting back, and now I can plant something colourful underneath. So I'm now on the patio bed, and whilst I was walking along here the other day, I noticed that all the gorgeous poppies, which we have, they're Patty's Plum in this border, which is a lovely purple colour. All of them are finished, and the foliage is leaning over the hydrangea that I planted here, or the hydrangeas. I've got 2 of them. So this is a hydrangea called Skyfall, and they're really, I bought them as quite small plants, you know, for economy's sake. So they will grow much bigger in the future. But whilst they're very small, the poppies are drowning them, and I need them to get sunlight. We can't see any of the foliage at the moment, like the leaves are just buried underneath the poppies. So I'm going to cut back the poppies, which I think have pretty much finished flowering. Now, ordinarily, I would leave the seed heads so that they form, you know, really nice seed heads, but I don't know if I can do that. I'll try and just cut the leaves back and leave the seed heads. I'll see what happens. But if they start flopping everywhere, I'll just take it all out, and that will give the hydrangea room to breathe. So this is the area I'm talking about. I've got a lovely blue pulmonium here, which a bee was just enjoying, and I upset it. So these are the poppies that are leaning over, and underneath here, this is where the hydrangea is, and it's definitely being smothered. So I need to, there's a great big gap at the back here basically. I think I'm just going to take everything out because even the stems are leaning over the hydrangea. So there's definitely more breathing room now. This geranium alba is also creeping on it, but I've just sort of pulled it back, and there is a Viburnum bonariensis growing out of the middle, but I'm going to leave that because they don't tend to cause a problem, and I can just rip it out in the autumn. I've deadheaded the pulmonium here. I think it's Purple Rain, this variety, and it's doing really well, but I left, I mean, there's a couple of flowers on there still. This is Viburnum Southern Charm, and I mean, it's gorgeous, but I don't want peachy colours in this border. And we have been pulling this plant out of this border for years and planting it down in the bottom border where I've got all the peachy colours. But every single year, another one pops up, and I leave it and let it flower. We can't seem to get the entire root out. So if you ever want a plant that just loves to live, Viburnum Southern Charm is your plant, especially if you like these sort of peachy purpley tones. It's very, very pretty. I just don't want it here. It's kind of floppy and it's the wrong colour scheme for this border because this is blues and purples and whites. So this is the other Skyfall hydrangea and it's got absolutely loads of flowers and I think nothing is bothering it too much. But actually the faded, this is Patty's Plum as well, but as it fades it sort of takes on this hue. Actually it does look quite nice with the Viburnum, but that does not mean I'm keeping the Viburnum here. We're going to dig it out again. So with the ranunculus, I'm just making sure that they are completely dry. I'm trying to get all the soil out from the middle. Sometimes that means that you end up breaking them apart, which is fine because they can be easily divided. But once I'm pretty sure that it's all completely dry, then they can go in the net bags. That can all go on the compost. And then these will go in a crate in our garage where they're not going to get too hot, they'll stay cool, and then in the autumn I'll be able to plant these out again and start them once more. That's it for this week. I really hope that you've had fun following along as I potted around in the garden and completed a few little jobs. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you all next time.